Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Troy Jackson. I'm one of the physicians here at Authentic Health. And if you're watching this video, we are in the middle of a series on skin health and improving your skin quality, how it looks, not just from a vanity perspective, but also because it's an incredibly protective organ and very important when we're thinking of longevity and health span. So in our previous series, we talked about the importance of skin and skin care, skin health. We talked about sunscreen. We talked about retinoids, and today we're going to talk about antioxidants. And it's a good timing for this because even if you wear sunscreen every day and you're using retinoids appropriately at night, you're still going to have damage. You're going to have pollution that's touching our skin, whether it's from air pollution or from things directly on our skin from chemicals, UV light, smoke, other inflammatory things happening in our body. All of these things are damaging our skin on top of what we're trying to do to protect it. So obviously we're trying to avoid those things. We're wearing sunscreen, but there's still going to be some damage that happens. And this damage creates these tiny inflammatory particles called cytokines that destroy collagen. They dry out the skin, and that accelerates wrinkles, altered pigmentation, and then even skin cancer. So how do you protect your skin after all of that damage has been done? And so that is where antioxidants come in. So today we're going to talk about what antioxidants are, what they do. We're going to talk about the specific antioxidants that are known to be very helpful for the skin. And we are going to talk about one of them that is an oral, not a topical, that has been shown in a study to reduce skin cancers. So hopefully this is helpful. This will be a shorter video because there's not that much that extra that you need to know for this topic, but it is still very, very important. Okay, so a little bit of a recap. Most of skin aging, that's wrinkles, altered pigmentation, thinning of the skin, most of it is not genetic. 80% of visible skin aging comes from external factors. So UV radiation from the sun, smoking, air pollution, environmental toxins, chronic inflammation, all of these things are damaging our skin through what's called reactive oxygen species, or ROS, ROS. And these are these little compounds that are made when this damage happens as a byproduct. And our bodies are designed to clear these products out. And they're not all bad. Reactive oxygen species is a signaling molecule. It's telling our body that something is happening. And so we can turn on defense mechanisms through DNA expression to help alleviate the damage. The issue comes up is when the oxidative stress is more than our body can handle. So that's repeated damage every single day for years and decades. And that's where there's that imbalance that pops up, and we start to shift towards skin damage that becomes visible. So these oxygen species, reactive oxygen species, they damage collagen, they directly damage our DNA, they're damaging the cells themselves, they're destroying all the hydration molecules that are in between the cells, and they're really making the skin barrier less functional, less protective for you. And so it's causing all these other problems with your skin. And so we're trying to fix that on the front end. But as you remember in our sunscreen video, sunscreen does not protect you 100% from UVA radiation. And so we need something else that helps protect us from the damage that we just cannot control, that we cannot fix. If there's a wildfire or other types of air pollution around us, we live downtown in a urban city, we can't fix the point that we're surrounded by chemicals. If we live in a place where there's a landscaping crew that's spraying stuff on our crops, or on our crops, it's like 1920s, on our plants in our house, then we can't fix that. It is what it is. So we have to do other things that are improving repair molecules and repair processes. So that's antioxidants, right? So we're trying to do the anti to these oxidative species. So these aren't replacements of sunscreen or other things. These are add-ons, things you do in addition to what you're already doing. And they neutralize the inflammatory particles that are left over after this exposure. And this is important, because we have to account for these because they're always going to be there. So the most important antioxidants for the skin would be vitamin C, vitamin E, and niacinamide, which is vitamin B3. And oftentimes these come together, so you don't have to get individual things. They usually come combination in a cream or lotion. So the first one and the most important one we're going to talk about, I'll spend the most time on, is vitamin C. One, super important, has a ton of data behind it. And two is that most of us are probably using it incorrectly. So vitamin C in the product is usually called L-ascorbic acid, is the most studied antioxidant in skincare. It's water soluble, so it works in the fluid inside and around our skin cells. It's easy to apply, and it really helps get into our skin where inflammation is occurring. And it does two things. So one, it's an antioxidant, so it neutralizes this oxidative stress, interacts with it to make it go away. And then it also is vital, critical for the production of collagen. And that second point is really important. You cannot build healthy collagen without vitamin C. And if you remember, the main problem that we've been talking about with UV radiation and what retinoids are trying to do as well is to improve collagen production. So you also need vitamin C to do that. So if you have a lot of inflammation in the skin, that's going to deplete vitamin C because it's neutralizing these oxidative species. It's going to cause damage to our collagen, which uses a vitamin C, so we're going to deplete even further. And that's where this accelerated aging of our skin comes from. So the next part is that we're probably using vitamin C incorrectly, and it's because it is very, very unstable, meaning that it degrades very quickly. If it's exposed to light, if it's exposed to air, if it's exposed to heat, if it's old and kind of been sitting on the shelf, vitamin C will degrade quickly. And so most vitamin C products, especially if they're on the cheaper side, they are probably all oxidized and inefficient or unhelpful when you get the bottle. And even if you get the bottle and it works really well, by the time you finish it, you probably have a product that doesn't have much vitamin C that's active anymore. And so what does that mean? That means, unfortunately, the vitamin C serums that are good are expensive. So everything we've talked about thus far are inexpensive products. And what I'll talk about next week also, inexpensive products. So you should not spend a lot of money on sunscreen, on retinoids, and next week we'll talk about moisturizers. But you should spend a good bit of money if you're going to get it on vitamin C. And it's because they have to be properly packaged. Sometimes they include some technology, these little nanoparticles that stabilize the vitamin C so it does not get exposed to air or light, or it lasts a lot longer from a time perspective. It's usually packaged in a dark packaging or a packaging that you cannot see through to protect it from light. They're airtight, so they're very specialized containers themselves. And then the other things are also packaged with other things. So vitamin C is usually packaged with something called ferulic acid or vitamin E, which helps improve its stability and effectiveness. So if you find a vitamin C product on the shelf and it's $10, it's probably not good. So you're looking at like the $75, $80, $100 range, somewhere way up in that side of things. It might even be more expensive if they're packaged with other things. So that is not just someone trying to sell you an expensive snake oil. It just takes that amount of money to create a product that's going to be well suitable and stable for you. So there's no point in buying a cheap vitamin C, is basically the premise of what I'm talking about. So when you are going to buy one and you're going to spend a lot of money on it, has to have L-ascorbic acid, 10 to 20% on the concentration. Probably should be combined with ferulic acid or vitamin E. And the packaging should be opaque, or you can't see through it, or really dark. Okay, so look for that. There are high quality brands that have a good vitamin C product. I talked to our esthetician that works at Previta, which is the aesthetic clinic that's upstairs above our office, and she recommended SkinCeuticals. They have a vitamin C and ferulic acid blend, and that's the one she recommends to all of her patients. It's a good brand, good product, and it meets all that criteria that I just described there. I don't know much about SkinCeuticals outside I know that they make high quality skincare products, but you can compare what you're looking at to that as kind of like the gold standard and go from there. So applying vitamin C, it can sting. So it can kind of, especially if the skin is already irritated or you're getting used to it for the first time. So you might want to start with doing it a few times per week, and you're going to use it in the mornings, and then you'll escalate to daily after that. Some dermatologists will recommend using it twice a day if you have a lot of photoaging, so a lot of UV damage on your skin. If you have a lot of pre-cancer lesions on your face, on your hands that get removed by the dermatologist every year, this would be a good one to use twice a day. You just build up to it. Most people will say to take it before you put it on, before you put on your sunscreen. So you put this serum on, it's a thin liquid. Rub it on your face, hands, ears, neck, for women, maybe the upper chest, and then you apply your sunscreen like normal. So that's vitamin C. The next one is on vitamin E. Vitamin E is a little different. It's a fat-soluble nutrient, and it's really helpful for the membrane of our skin cells. So we don't think of this way with our skin, but the cells, the lining of them is made up of fats, fatty acids. And this is true of all cells in our body. And these fats are protective. They serve a lot of different purposes. But what we're talking about here is that they are protective for the inside of the cell, of these skin cells. And so when they get damaged from oxidative stress, from UV radiation, those membranes become leaky and particles can get in that damage DNA directly. The cell doesn't function as well, and so like mitochondrial function declines inside the cell, and that leads to inefficient processing of nutrients and leads to aging of the cell itself. So it accelerates skin aging. And then, of course, the cell, once damaged, is releasing its own inflammation, and that's just further worsening the problem. So vitamin E stabilizes and serves as an antioxidant for that fatty membrane. So it's very often paired with vitamin C because it does a completely different thing. So they come together and they work synergistically. So they can work together to have a good, strong antioxidant network for the entire skin, water soluble and fat soluble. The last one is on niacinamide. It's B3. And this is a little bit different. It's not truly an antioxidant in the same way that vitamin C and vitamin E are, but I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I put it here because it does have a lot of really, really good information in reducing inflammation. And really where it works is that it helps damaged cells repair their DNA more effectively. And this is especially true after UV radiation exposure. So I briefly touched on this in another video I did on NAD. So if you're interested in NAD and you have no clue what it's all about, but you read about it all the time, go watch that video also. I do talk about this molecule in there. But niacinamide is a version of B3 that comes in a topical form that helps with improving the skin barrier, helps with hydration, reducing redness and irritation. It can help even out pigment tone and improve the skin texture overall. And the thought is that it's working within the DNA to repair it. And so the cells are just healthier cells over a period of time, and they're producing melanin and other things in a more appropriate and regulated fashion. Take that a step further, there was a study done in Australia, so I think that's skin cancer capital of the world, and it was an oral niacinamide, 500 milligrams twice a day, and it reduced basal cell skin cancers and squamous cell skin cancers, and these pre-cancer lesions called actinic keratoses. They're these little flaky growths that you usually see on the face or on men, on the top of their head, top of the ears. And you typically go to a dermatologist and they'll freeze them off. So these types of skin cancers, squamous cell and basal cell, they're most common cancers worldwide. They usually are taken out when you're talking about cancer statistics because they're so prevalent. Meaning a lot of people have them. And if they're problematic, the solutions are not great often. You have to do topicals that can really burn and irritate the skin to help with squamous cell carcinomas. You may have to get them surgically removed. That's called Mohs surgery, and those are big procedures to do. So you want to prevent these on the get-go, the front end. And then if you know those people, or maybe you are one of them, you have all these kind of bumps on your skin. Well, you don't want that. And some people will have to use kind of these like chemical peels in the wintertime to try to remove them if there's too many of them. But this is a good, easy way to see if you can help improve DNA repair yourself inside your skin. So oral niacinamide, very safe. 500 milligrams twice a day. Great study on that. You can look it up and see what you think. I think the results were reduced skin cancers by up to 30%. And that's a lot. So it really isn't the most helpful for those who have significant sun damage, history of skin cancer. You got those actinic keratoses growing on your or forming on your skin, or you just live in a place with high UV radiation exposure. So if you're watching this and you live in Asheville, it may not be the thing, but if you live in Florida or anywhere down south, or you're traveling into the beach all the time, this might be one you want to think about. So I hope that was a helpful review. It's kind of quick, but it really shows the importance of skin and that we need to be thinking of different ways to improve our skin health over long term. This UV radiation and oxidative stress that comes from that, this is a long-term problem. This isn't one sunburn and all of a sudden you have damage and issues. This is low-grade exposures all the time, as you're just trying to mitigate those exposures as much as possible. We're using sunscreen. We're taking care of the skin quality by using retinoids, and then we're taking care of that leftover oxidative stress with antioxidants. So the next video we're doing is going to seal the deal on this whole series, and it's on moisturizers. Sounds boring. You probably feel like you know everything about it, but I bet you're going to learn something, so just stay tuned to that. If you like what we're doing so far, please subscribe so you'll know when the next video comes out. It really helps us when we have a lot of subscribers, and so I thank you for those who have already pressed the button and continue to watch our videos. Please let us know if there's topics you want us to cover. That's always helpful for me to know. I'm just coming up with topics out of my head or something happens in clinic, but if there's something you want to know about, please let me know. Well, until next time, take care. Bye-bye.